some cool AR action going on here as we head into the first match.
Well, here we go then. The plane is departing. Players up on screen, Blank. Doesn't it all look damn pretty as we lock ourselves in for the 4th game of the day. It is going to be tasty, and it could be even better if you are playing it on your G20 Pro. 120 FPS to work with, Blank. 144 hertz screen. Ooh, the reaction time on that.
It's banging. It is banging. You want to play with the best, you better get the best technology on side as well with you. Playing path down towards the south, heading all the way towards Primos. Slightly difficult one really on the south lane here, Jackie. But I think most teams will get themselves into a fairly decent spot as we throw ourselves into this one. Osal, second place, 9 elims. So you got QZZ as well, 10 elims for himself. But look at that. 2 players from Reject, top in the charts here in 2nd and 3rd place on damage alone. That's banging. But it still is QZ who is hitting up the big numbers there from Tiamba after that initial game, because I think we talked a lot about after D plus Kia 1, we got that second match coming through with Alpha 7 versus Tiamba on a C block, but it was in fact Tiamba who was able to do so much damage in that game. They got a lot of eliminations and they just cooked the lobby.
Oh yeah, they did. They had the meat and potatoes on the go, vegetables on the side. They were looking damn good. So many highlights for our statistic look-ins as well. You can see how many times they're popping up on your screens. And we're only at the halfway point, Blank, but it makes me happy to see it.
Yeah, dude, it is really, really nice. I mean, Reject is just on there all the time. And I think there was a lot of doubters. There was a lot of Reject doubters coming into this, and I think you were one of the true believers of that at the end of the day. But I think that Reject have come in, they decided that, you know, they're here to play. Yeah. Yes, everyone was saying that perhaps they were looking a little bit nervous, and I think that's completely reasonable considering some of their performances recently other than the PMGO, which was absolute slobber knocker from those guys, but it did fall downhill a little bit. So I think for Reject, some of that luck they had in PMGO, which led them to the title. I won't say it's all luck, there was a lot of skill involved, but I think that maybe they felt a bit down about the fact that it wasn't truly in their hands.
Okay. It's one of those as well, though, where sometimes you do need a bit of a kick in the gut to go back, look over the perspective, you know, and reassess the situation. Have those bad benchmarks to be able to improve off of, and it can give you a bit of an upwards draft. We'll see if it carries on, though. That's definitely the big question based off the previous map, is are they able to follow that throughout the rest of the day? Maintain that energy. Was it just a blip as we start getting the drops finishing off, everyone in position, the looting camp again, and we can join the action, Black.
I mean, talk about blips as well, Jackie. You look at Besiktas Black, man, 31 points right now, currently in the lead with that chicken dinner. I mean, for Besiktas Black, they're another team that I had real weird thoughts about coming into this tournament, because I just didn't feel like they had the chops on them to hit those money shots in the game versus some of the big dogs of the lobby. But here they are, first place, looking really good. Not sure what's happened in that camp, but they have definitely improved it, upgraded it. You know, we've got the 6-man tent opposed to just the 3-man tent now. It's spacious, it's roomy for points, mainly.
It's large, you know, area for probably the double rollout mattress, which would be extra comfortable, give you better sleep. Yeah, and that's important, Black. If you have bad sleep, probably not going to be hitting those absolutely sickening shots, are you? Yeah,
that's why I had to sleep until 1 p.m. today.
Yeah, you had to have the big sleep.
I had to have the big sleep to prepare for this.
Now you're fresh. You can actually digest what's going to be going down in front of your eye peepers.
But we're on board with Brute Force at the moment. Currently 8 points at the moment, but I think that they've had like a few decent showings so far. Okay. And I think that it has been a case where they've been pipped to the post a few times. There is so much possibility in these matches versus these strong teams to get into a position early on, but you are going to have to fight for it, because a lot of these strong spots, teams know where they are, they know where to light you up, and then they head there straight away. Reggie, though, straight away on towards Tiamba, tries to take his rival out in the old damage scorings. This is smart, though. We're going to try and heal up behind the LOS. You don't want to get knocked out the back of the vehicle on the leave, but that has given time for Regiosio to get up close and personal, Jackie.
It has indeed, mate. Closing the gap a little bit, the initial chip damaging, forcing out all of the heals, draining the actual initial pickup. So look at the formation you've got on the go here. He can link up. They could be in a pretty good spot to kick off an opening fight on this one.
Yeah, they're sort of surrounding them at the moment, our Reject. Average of limbs on a wrangle alone, 10 for them at the moment. Real good score. But yeah, this could be a nasty crunch there for Tiamba, and I think they realize it as well. They are just pummeling their way down this hillside, getting out of the way, keep just nervously sending the peak up towards Reject, who are hunting them down.
Pan that perimeter, see where exactly they've gotten to. The nerves there somewhat. At least they find themselves the extra vehicle, split up the squad slightly and have a little bit more room to roam. Oh, all right. Rotate off as well down close towards the compounds. Nothing much happening here at the minute. Seems like that one has panned out into a stalemate and they can get away.
If IWNRX is an interesting position, you're towards Ferry Pier, it's kind of a tough spot to play a lot of times because there is a lot of onus on you of being the aggressive team in this location. You've got to hold out over towards Bridgeside. You can't just let people get out for free because then you limit the amount of spots you can have on the eastern side of this circle. Right now, what we're looking at is very much over towards that western side, a ton of space granted towards Sosnovka. So a team like Full Miracle Vibes, they've got huge amount of time, huge amount of space as well to just wait this one out before they make the crossing on the bridge, which does make things awkward for teams that did want to hold around here for a while. So I think for IWNRX, it's a case of scouting the teams out around them, possibly trying to disengage and finding that threaded route out of there.
Yeah, get the lay of the land, don't make any snap-second decisions, as it would definitely come back to haunt you. And time is your ally right now. You know, that's the bigger picture. You've still got room to breathe before you need to start kicking into second gear. DK Plus on a move. This is the bridge highlight we were talking about. A bit of a crossing going on. Shots being taken. Seeing if you can get that initial establishing damage off and make it a bit awkward.
Yeah, odd that Full Miracle Vibes went for this. I mean, they've already lost a player there. You can see he goes down. Reefus is out. That's Takagi Saka as well over on that eastern side. And again, they just go completely against the mold, right? Which, as I said, you've got so much time to play around with here, right? Brute Force is coming through from Nova Repnoia. This is very much an easy opportunity for Full Miracle Vibes to potentially hold that team out because you have the time to do it. So I think for Full Miracle Vibes, this is a bit of a overinvestment. You know, they've thought about this crossing and they've gone for it way too quickly.
You funneled yourself into the choke point. It does make it a little bit more awkward for the get out. It's also the amount of chip damage you're going to be taking from this.
Even speaking about the plane path as well, Jackie, the fact that it was so far on that south side, it lines this coast.
Yeah.
So if I'm for Miracle Vibes, if I was them, I'd be like, crossing that western bridge seems like a very bad idea until at least minute 15.
Bad ideas here for Tiamba as well. Caught out in the open. First man wiped away like a spilt drink, and the pain continues. You're being funneled in from both sides. So Kag able to grab another one there.
I mean, regardless of what happened there, Reject has secured themselves some more position on the map, right? I mean, they were rotating close in towards Tiamba, and they have just shepherded them over towards this side of the map. Losing 2 players feels rough. Yu's going to try and get over there to maybe pick up QZ. I think they will do it. It's a question of whether D plus Kia wants to go for the aggro push there onto that compound.
Right now, you just assess the situation. Don't need to overinvest, really, with the initial damage done. Again, very early. It's the opening flow of things here. 4th game of the day. They do get the res off. They're able to get him back on his feet, keep him alive for now.
On next circle, straight down towards that south bridge. And again, look, there's more room. I'm pretty sure that's another player from Full Miracle Vibes going down as well on that south side. I think if you've done your research here, even if I'm looking at Full Miracle Vibes, they're a very tactical team.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me that they'd make what I would go to say is a rookie's mistake here in the lobby, considering the plane path. And now Brute Force has them just penned in. So I'm a bit confused about what's going on with 4v this game.
This was the clash with Tiamba that we had on the replay as well, and the pain seems to continue with being able to get stuck into the action. Bit of damage going out, finding those knocks off the back of it as well. Alpha 7 on the move, in close quarters in the rear.
Power takes a flush there over towards Al-Haji. Not so Al-Happy anymore. Alpha 7, Besiktas Black, Akali goes down. Quick plays here from Alpha 7. This is what they're very known for, right? Just quick in and out, speedy action. They know exactly what to do. I think a lot of times between, you know, Carrillo, Mafioso, Revo, these 3 guys, so well coordinated between one another that if they want to take a fight, there's going to be immediate backup coming through. And that's what having this consistent roster has done for them, is that a lot of times that they're in each other's heads, but in a good way.
No, they've got that synergy down to a T. It's the target prioritization as well when you see a lot of these fights. They know where they need to be distributing the majority of their focus fire and how to maximize their opportunity in these fights. Reject back on the screens here, close on the hillside down towards the compound. Still got the lay of the land to work with.
Quick look at the map at the moment. Most teams have made their way in. I think it's really only Inco's out in the blue at the moment. This is on the eastern side. They're just coming through shelter, but Pachinki, Gatka, south side on Ferry Pier. It's a bit of an awkward finish here for a lot of teams at the moment. Jackie, that huge amount of fielded area that sits down towards the south side of this circle, and more often than not, in fact, I'm almost certain this is going to shift away from Sosnovka and away from that water, so we're cutting out even more land on that next circle. Some good shots there from Cleo. Kakali tries to get a bit of scouting done. The rest of the team just flies on past.
Be the issue as well. Not much cover to work with if it goes that way. If the wind blows in that direction, things could get a lot more awkward. Close grouping across the board though, Blank. Looking at the map screen right here with how things are working out. Look, rotates in. Meanwhile, in the compound, we see the shotty pulled out to say hello to Tiamba. And that's a very aggressive way to say hello, Blank.
Yeah, I mean, they just got another knock onto this team as well. So for D plus Kia, I think they were revving up to go. S12K comes through. They finish off QC. And I think Tiamba, this might just be night-night for them.
Trying to put up the fight. Bit of damage back to slow down the initial engagement. Closing the distance between the two, though. A good use of the nades so far. You're creating a bit of space with the zoning. Molly on the top floor makes it harder for the peak. You've got a man in the back line as well. Looking to steal away some points of potential. Tiamba through the door, and they're gone.
Insane as well for them. This fight looked a little bit edgy for me, honestly, because they had to force their way into this compound, and you could see that the liberation that was going on earlier as well, Jackie, in terms of, do we want to make that push over that side? We know they're wounded, we know they're weak, but with this circle shifting hard over towards the eastern edge, this now gives D plus Kia really strong base of operations to work with now, which is sick.
Yeah, it's worked out well for them. Alpha 7 always on the prowl as well, closing the gap and starting to make their move over. Reject, they've been reluctant to move. They haven't really had to from the positioning they've established themselves in. They've got high ground to work with, and the map favors them right now. We're getting closer towards that crunch time.
Yeah, moved a lot of teams around as Reject. They've had a lot of control over towards the side. You can even see here, like, just moving through this field alone, it's really tough. But Reject's taking this even one step further in a case of you are not getting up this hillside without taking a couple of casualties. So they are just maintaining this position, strengthening it as much as they can towards that late game. Really fortunate on the eastern shift on the circle, but they've done the right thing here. So very, very happy with this for Reject. Smart game plan to start things out. They didn't go too hard on Tiamba. They allowed them to flow into a zone that felt a little bit rough for them. For Alpha 7, on the other hand, they've had a long way to travel, but they have just been taking shots as they go. They pick up this position. Very nice. Over towards the south side, but good compounds to play with. So I think for Alpha 7, they're pleased with this one. This is good. This is real good.
Yeah, it's working out. Similar sort of storyline, just making it awkward for everyone else rather than throwing yourself into the frying pan, the proverbial one that would burn you, Blank. It would be very hot at this point. The oil's been heating up for a good 7 minutes.
It's spitting at you. Ooh. I've had to leave the kitchen. It's the worst.
Put the long sleeve on. Protect
yourself. The long sleeve, you know. Maybe even hold up another pan in front of my face.
The defending pan?
The defend pan.
Okay.
I have the attack pan and the defend
and
pan.
And you parry the attacking pan?
Parry the oil.
That would be pretty good. I think that might save you.
Yeah, potentially. Looking at the map at the moment, though, 4 Miracle Vibes had to go for that swim down towards that southwest side, and they have just been given not a lot of room to play with now. But again, like, if we look at this map right now, the western bridge is still in. Brute Force moving towards that eastern side. There was a world where they could have sat here for so much longer on this bridge, wait for IWNRX to move, and then made their way in. On the other hand, though, a lot of action popping off on our screen. You've got the money makers, power versus boom. It's all starting to get a little bit crazy because there's not a huge amount of space here in these foothills.
No, limiting you with the cover you've got to play around, you've got to make it for yourself. Huge damage back with Koa, and it will slow him down slightly. Let's see if you can shake the Moneymaker on this one as he gets in close, supported by the squad. And they are able to at least clean up. It's trades either side, though, and you've got a lot of infighting going on here, Blank, with the amount of squads in close succession.
Yeah, Moneymaker's trying to get into the circle right now. Koa down is not ideal considering this circle pushes further in, but he does have a chance to get through again. You do have Paragin, kind of a master with nades on DX Xavier and Lamborghini too, so the team is not easily quelled, I would say. So the Moneymakers quickly go for this res right now, try and get them into the circle at the point in the game where realistically Koa's going to have to instantly hit a bandage, start walking in, but they've survived here. And more likely than not, it's just going to be Paragen moving further into the circle. So for the Moneymakers, on the edge of the circle, bit tough, but they have made the play that will keep them alive for a bit longer.
Yeah, and the fights are breaking out all over the shop as well. UDO Alliance taking some damage and forced to go for a bit of a pick-me-up on that one. Similar state of affairs across the map with the circle now closing in. Power have been lurking down towards the bottom side of the hill as well. They've had an assess on the situation, seen where Moneymakers were. Didn't feel comfortable to go for the engagement yet, especially with the smokes making it a bit more awkward on the vision there.
Quick stock of the map right now. IWNRX has really been quite cruel to 4MV. Here's our quick replay. Revo driving the car on its side. Does get it back onto its four wheels, though. Could have been much worse, especially on that field, to be honest with you. I think contextually, that's sort of bad.
Yeah.
You know, on the side of the vehicle, out in the forest, funny. In the field,
dangerous.
I'm sweating right now. Yeah, it's not good. But yeah, for IWNRX, I think this is now the time to move. They did just hit a shot over towards Alpha 7. This might be just a quick rundown. I mean, IWNRX, when they want to pull the trigger, they absolutely can. So Alpha 7 better be ready for this. They do hit the shot onto Frozen as they approach. There's a 3v3 right now.
Oh, mate. It's a bit awkward as well with Power of how they've been playing this one. Depends if they've been sussed out from the position. Bit of a backstab could occur. Satan's gone, though. Cleaned up on the flank back around as Koa assists once again. And it continues. Problems occurring for Power more and more. You're also getting the stick in from Reject that are able to find damage, completely wiping Power out of the equation.
Goodness me, they're gone. That was an unfortunate game there for Power. What I'm really curious about, though, is this IWNRX fight. They jumped in, but Alpha 7 is cleaning house with them right now. Reject also taking fights back to everyone, and I think that's IWNRX out. So that is kind of a big thing for me, because IWNRX is one of the big teams coming through from EMEA. Alpha 7 similarly from Americas. And we've just decided who's top dogs from those regions.
And that dog is barking loudly with the firepower on the server. Continues to make it awkward on the hillside as well. Moneymakers, they found good opportunities to get stuck into these third parties and do a nice bit of damage on each and one of them. Enko basically getting blown out of the waters. You've got to bail out, make the quick move, hop inside the vehicle and see if you can reposition off. Try and find some sort of safety net. It's not looking good though, Blank. Entirely surrounded in terms of the positionings. There's a lot more cover to work with for some of these teams rather than others.
Man, Nenebete is in a bad spot right now. Regiosio, mate, Reject are going crazy in this game. I mean, they're still up to 4 players. They've not got a huge amount of eliminations, but the amount of times they've been in the feed right now, just adding insult to injury to these squads, has been rough so far. This is very open space, and feels like D plus Kia have been given a bit of an in here for themselves. Taking the win on Sandhawk earlier, getting another win here would be a big, surprising result for the Korean squad. I think a lot of people weren't expecting a massive amount from them coming into this tournament. But there you go. If anyone knows how to play center, it is a Korean team, and it is D plus Kia.
Setting themselves up the longer this one goes on. Finally, a bit of a lull across the battlefield off the whack of what has been a pretty intense couple minutes there. A lot of casualties done, finning our way through the herd here throughout the flow of Stage 5. Keeping you guessing. I do like it though, Blank. You're right. I mean, with the Reject are playing this, right? It's not as if they really have to be the focal point. They're just making it awkward enough to shape rotations that keep everyone in uncomfortable positions.
Dude, you're 100% right. I mean, they've done that from probably minute 3 of the game, and we saw them coming up against Tiamba early on and just moving them into a tough spot, and it has cleared out so much space in front of them. The only worry I have is getting through this next zone right now. They've taken another shot, but to get towards Alliance is going to be a really difficult run. Alpha 7 though, what a run they've had down towards this south side. I mean, they've been roaming for a while, looking for a position to stay. They battle off versus IWNRX. Not an easy team to go toe-to-toe with, and that is 4MV out. Just a weird play from 4MV this game overall. A lot of chances, a lot of bones thrown their way, and not a single one chewed upon.
Yeah. And you can see the gun skill really coming through as well for Alpha 7, the way they're taking these range fights and making them look trivial, Blank. The skill is there. Sara snacking his way back into it. It takes a bite out of DRX, and they are down and out. So Reject, as much as they took that heavy hit, they found the man, got it back on his feet, and continue to find success, bring themselves up to the 5 points now.
I mean, they're right on the edge at the moment, on that western side. Still playable. I mean, I think right now, making the push down towards Alliance can be really difficult. Alpha 7 coming up versus Reject now.
Oh, they're cleaning house, one by one, annihilating their way through them, getting up close to close the distance, and the shot betrays them. Alpha 7 go in blank and make that look easy. That's a couple seconds on a fight with a clean sweep.
10 elims. Mate, I was just talking about what they could maybe do next. Look back at the screen. Alpha 7's wiped the floor of them. They don't exist. They're gone.
They're gone now. It's Alpha 7's land. Reject were just living in their dream, and it turned into a nightmare for them. CAG still hoping to make the best of the situation. 3 of the 4 alive and kicking. Bit of splash damage from the side.
I'd be terrified if I was Kagasaka right now.
You don't want to reel in Alpha 7, mate.
Yeah, I just watch the team get stripped to pieces over on that western side. Don't come back down towards the south, please. It's not like we've got 3 apartments that maybe you could stay in, potentially. D plus Kia dealing with Moneymakers. They assault towards their position. Bad nade from Biscay. And another bad nade there from Koa. This is all going wrong for the Moneymakers.
I mean, they're dumping the utility. They're trying to force them out, see if they can do much with it, but it's a bit of an elongated fight. That one could be nice, at least, to establish some damage back. There's the up-close angle. Koa dropped once more inside of this match in a very unfavorable position. Response is good, though, Blank. Nice 3-pointer there with an 8.
Absolutely, really, really good here from D plus Kia. They're handling it. I mean, they are down to 2 players. This counts a lot here, though. Needs to find some kind of value off that play. K comes through, though. The flying shot with the S12K.
Oh, mate, he's the Flying Dutchman. Just breathing his way through the air bit by bit, blowing them to pieces. And they're making this one work. The elongated fight that seems to be going in their way cleanly now.
Icy Boss on the side, though, with a nade could be devastating if he places it just right. Getting the nade through the window onto the stairs, not that difficult to hit either. So I think Icy Boss could potentially hit something big here. Just tosses it out into the open room, though. Does not get anything done. So Icy from Moneymakers, probably his last stand here versus D plus Kia.
How awkward can he make it? And how bad's it going to get for the Alliance side? Ooh, nade in, over back, detonating the vehicles and taking a man with it. Woohoo, lucky to be alive on the drop there for brute force.
Yeah, Neos is living. Another nade comes through. Not sure if it'd be good enough. Ice actually is going in. Finds Nobu from D plus Kia. He's still going too. Just weaving around like a rat in the building at the moment.
Give himself low to the ground, mate. Those little paws scurrying along. I mean, if he can make it more awkward, find a way to at least maybe take a few out with him on exit, it could have worked out well. But that's the end of his story, as they are able to remove the vote.
I mean, if maybe you got that molly off, different story, but they put an end to the heat quite quickly, turn down the pan, parry it with the parry pan.
The second pan blocks the initial pan.
The second pan came in clutch in that moment. Alpha 7, though, just feels menacing on this west side of the map. I think they're just gearing up to wait for a fight to take place, and there they're going to be all over it. Kagasaka tries to get Garnet into position, but Auto does find Mafioso on that edge. That could be big, especially with the circle starting to push in. Revo has to make a tough decision. Does he try and deal with a player that's tried to come up close to him, or immediately go for this res? And I think he has to straight away go for this res, but I don't think he's got enough time. He has to just leave. Mafioso's down, and that is a big blow to Alpha 7's strength in this lobby.
You're ruining them, mate. He couldn't even get back in through the zone in time, Blank. You've really ripped them to pieces off the back of the engagement. He's down and out, so that's 2 for the price of 1 from the response. Going for the pickup. Oh, Blank. It's all going wrong for Alpha 7 in the late game. Maybe there's still some time for him to build off this, though. It's down to the duo now, really. You're being pushed hard on this. They've got to play defense. They've got to connect those shots.
Yeah, smart play here from D plus Kia. They instantly see this. They know they don't have a lot of places to go right now, so they have to go for the third party. They lose a player, and Carrillo, as well as McGrellin, holding on. But these nades up close towards them, right on the edge of the blue, devastating. McGrellin is trying to make his way in. Great shots to the Orc, though, from K, who has been a monster today so far.
Can he get the last man? Oh, shot back on the drop down. At least it's the trade. Get him on his feet. See if they can salvage him. But the game itself for Alpha 7, it will not be theirs. Out in 5th.
Man, it felt like he could have been so much better, but Revo just makes a big mistake trying to pick Mafioso up. And I think if you're Mafioso, you're just saying, don't res me.
Just leave me.
I'm done.
Yeah.
We need to get 3 players into this zone, and this is taking way too long. So, for Mafioso, potentially calls for the res. Potentially Revo's just too good of a friend.
Just did not want to leave a man behind, but in a situation like that, you've got to go. CAG, they've been going absolutely nuclear with some of these plays from the sideline, though, consistently dealing deathly blows and finding the opportunities to take fights blank. That's what's been working for them. The high ground they're establishing, just making it so awkward. There is a bit of a knockback onto them. Two still alive in good stead, at least in terms of the positioning, and the smoke's blocking the line of sight back from Brute Force.
Yeah, just a rough push, though, for Kagasaka right now. I mean, they are not getting across this side. Alliance and Brute Force, they make a bit of a split-second decision towards the early game where they just pick up this coastal side, and you can sort of have that agreement, right? Sign the contract, we'll have this side, you'll have the other. And I mean, Neos has been somewhat pushing the boundaries on some of these clauses by he's testing it, sending the nades across towards the other side. And Alliance is suing, but not much they can do about it other than that. And I think that this is going to come down to a Brute Force versus Alliance ending. The question is, does this head further over towards the eastern side, give Brute Force a bit of more space to play with? But it's looking with this circle, it's going to be a central shift. Alliance should have this in the bag if they don't make too many mistakes.
That's what it'll come down to. We'll keep an eye on the clean sheet. If they can avoid making any muck-ups, the longer this one goes on. You've got the positional advantage, you've got to hit your shots and play your cards right. Brute Force with a more spread setup, making it harder for the nades to blow them out of position. But again, you're still finding an opportunity to make it a little bit more awkward from way back in the range. CAG might not have the cleanest rotation, but if they can put the pressure on, they might be able to bide themselves a bit of time.
The Lynx AMR, bro. I mean, that's going to hit hard, if it does hit at all. And there is so much cover right now available to Alliance that this Lynx is going to be pulled out at an opportune time. I mean, realistically for Kagasaka, this needs to head northwest. It needs to give them some more breathing room. They have the hard cover of the crate to play with. That is fortuitous. That is a blessing in of itself. But yeah, things are quietening down now as we get towards the end of the match, where it's all going to explode on our screens. Bit of a difficult one, though. Again, for Brute Force, far down in the rankings.
Yeah.
This game means a lot to them. They need to pull up their socks in this match.
We'll see how that affects their play style as well. If they overindulge based off of the fact they want to get stuck into it, cause the first issues. Hang on, a bit of a rotate round the back as well for Alliance in terms of the angles you could work with here.
Oh,
they're
Jimmy.
spreading themselves out a bit blank. This could be tasty.
I like this from Jimmy, actually. It does make... If they want to peek, they take shots over towards Alliance. That is a really nice off angle. This will very much depend on the reaction speed coming through from Kagasaka in this game. But you can see just even on the scoreboard right now, Brute Force, 1 elimination. Alliance, one elimination. Both these teams have forsaken eliminations in this match for the 10-point chicken dinner, right? It's not really going to be worth it to either side picking up that second place. Right, it's not hugely beneficial. That 10 points is what they're all gunning for right now. Kagasaka is looking a little bit better for them with the 4 elims, but again, getting a third place, coming out of this game with 8 elims. Then you look at teams like D plus Kia, Alpha 7, already made 16 points on the match.
That's why there's so much pressure on this. The decision-making has to be pristine. Ooh. Brute Force do get stuck in. That's actually a knockback onto the Alliance side as well, which does turn up the heat a little bit and maybe provide some room for CAG to get stuck in with the third party from the side. The wind goes against them, though. Brute Force clap back. The fight continues on, and we're seeing the issues arise. This is where Jimmy's power play could be a huge maneuver. You're talking about the fact it's not worth going for it then. It well could be now. He's got the close angle clear as well, peppering damage down, and it's good for him to clean up. So Alliance making some smart moves here.
Yeah, real clean. Neos even actually on his pass in took a shot over towards Kagasaka, hit one of those other knocks. So Jimmy's life was made a whole lot easier. Pre-pod, up front, very low HP, is taken down, and Jimmy's still up. Hasn't been shut down just yet, and Cluck is just taking names. They're desperately trying to get this res off here, Jackie.
Oh, it's the nade, though. This could be the big moneymaker around the sideline. If you're able to hit that one as a haymaker, it keeps the pressure on them. And you've got all eyes drilled in on the backside of the rock, clearing the cover as they turn it. It's going to have to force them out. Splash damage round the corner. A 1-for-1 trade onto either side. Alliance really committing into the fight, but the Tides, they're starting to turn blank. You're finding an opportunity back for Brute Force. I mean, you're one at that, but if they can do something off this, maybe there's a chance. You've got a bit of space to work with.
Circle will push him in soon. Chudo picking himself a first aid kit, has to hit something, but Jimmy's off angle here is devastating. He has to win this engagement, moves out, the molly's there and will finish him off. Brute Force goes down and Alliance will pick up those 10 points and see themselves even with the other boys in the lobby by just 1 point ahead though.
They keep it close, they keep it tight, but in the end, it is the Alliance that are able to unite and find that one. Oh, the decision-making as well. Fair play to Jimmy with the backstab and the repositioning. Even the slight moment of divine intervention, staying alive with about 1 point of health in that firefight, so the rest of his teammates could clean up. Huge win for Alliance there, Blank. That's a big chicken dinner.
Yeah, massive. It's one of those decisions you have to make where you have to pour a